going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of fights. This time it's not UFC fights, we have an off week, but I did say last time that if I had any betting action on another organization, I would make a quick breakdown of that, and this time it is two fights in particular, the main event and co-main event of LFA 140. I'll touch on those fights, the only ones so far I have any interest in betting. And I do have betting action on the co-main event, which is Myron Santos versus Dwight Joseph at featherweight. And then I'm also probably going to lay down maybe a little bit of action on the main event, which is for the vacant flyweight championship, since Charles Johnson vacated it this year, between Carlos Mota, who fought for the belt last time, and Rizvan Abuev, who is the Russian challenger, making his LFA debut. So just join me for these two quick breakdowns, and hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll be back to all of the regularly scheduled programming for the UFC come Sunday or Monday. Okay, in the co-main event, we have Myron Santos taking on Dwight Joseph at featherweight. Two guys that have very drastically different game plans, drastically different level of experience, but the same record. 12-1 professionally for Myron Santos, the Brazilian Muay Thai specialist, and for Dwight Joseph, the former collegiate wrestler. Again, 12-1 professionally, 7-0 as an amateur. Now, Myron Santos is a young Brazilian, 22 years old, 5'9", 72-inch reach. Dwight Joseph, the older, more experienced man at 33, 5'7", 67.5-inch reach, although I've seen that listed a little bit shorter for both height and reach. Back when he made his Contender Series appearance against Jay Perrin, which he won a couple years ago. Now, Dwight Joseph actually trains at Team Alpha Male. I did mention he's a former D2 collegiate wrestler, I believe out of Nebraska years back, so he does that often. He's a wrestle boxer. He's goes early and often to the wrestling. Very explosive, very fast to close the distance. And he's got very good boxing as well. He sets up, the takedowns with his hands pretty seamlessly. He's open to stand and strike with people, but more often than not, he's trying to get this to the mat where he can employ heavy ground and pound. And he's very successful at it. Very good top control, good balance on top. And he can really go for the back takes as well, work some submissions often. He's got 3 submissions and 4 knockouts, often the ground and pound I mentioned. So he's got very good strength, a decent guillotine as well. Myron Santos, completely different game plan. A Muay Thai specialist from Brazil. He does have 7 stoppages due to strikes. I think he trained in the company of Jessica Andrade at one point back in Brazil, for whatever that's worth. And again, all 12 of his wins, he came to the LFA in a main event spot in February against Daniel Argueta, and he got grounded, he got exposed. His takedown defense, basic at best. I mean, he backs up in a straight line, does not circle off the cage, often getting trapped on the cage and taken down with relative ease if you're a good wrestler. So he has shown a little bit of offensive wrestling himself if he was testing it against guys who he knows are, kickboxers primarily. I've seen him actually do that in the regional scene as well and go for some takedowns himself. Not often successful, but you can see he's working the budding MMA game. I think his last camp for that LFA main event spot against Daniel Argueta, I think he was at Extreme Couture, where I believe he's still training now. So he's working on things, but he can get bullied in the clinch, clearly outworked in the clinch. His cardio seems okay, but it's just going to be a matter of, this is going to take a long time for him to develop. At 22, again, you can expect maybe some rapid improvements from him, especially if he's training in the States at a bigger camp like Extreme Couture, but this is going to be a huge gap in skill on the wrestling side of things from February to now in August. I don't see him making that many improvements versus Dwight Joseph has been doing this as his base of martial arts for a long time. So I think Dwight Joseph just has the clear game plan here to go early and often to the wrestling, get that top control time, and I don't think Santos can get back to his feet. I think he gets finished by ground and pound by round 2 or round 3 of this fight. So if you got access to the unders, I think that fits the win condition of Santos, who would need a knockout here against Dwight Joseph, who's been proven very durable so far. But again, the only loss that Dwight Joseph has had has not been to strikes. He's never been finished. It was to a split decision where he found himself on bottom position after he gave up takedowns himself. So I don't see that happening from Santos. This opened up at a pick'em price tag, minus 115 apiece. I laid 2.5 units on Dwight Joseph here. I think it's a clear spot for him to win. This is a very similar but even worse opponent than Santos just fought in February. So give me Dwight Joseph to win here. This line is moving. It already moved down to minus 125 for Dwight Joseph, I saw Probably going to get steamed a little bit here if people have action on LFA. Again, 2.5 units on this. I would love to exploit this clear weakness and experience and wrestling for Santos, but again, this is LFA, CFFC, types of organizations like this where I don't have a lot of data on the guys. I don't like to load up like max bets, even when I think I've got a clear, fair price line on it. So I'm going 2.5 units. Myron Santos does have great weapons. A nice high kick, good lead front kicks. He's got pretty good timing on his counter striking, but I think Dwight Joseph can weather the storm and just get the takedowns at will. So give me Dwight Joseph very confidently. Moving on to the LFA 140 main event, it's a 5-round scheduled bout for the vacant flyweight championship between Carlos Mota and Rizvan Abuev. Carlos Mota is a Brazilian fighter who fought for the championship earlier this year against Charles Johnson, who was recently signed to the UFC and vacated this belt. Mota was unsuccessful, and he actually tasted defeat for the first time professionally. He has a 7-1 record at 27 years old, 5'6", a 69.5-inch reach. He will be the shorter man here and presumably a smaller reach as well. Rizvan Abuev is a pretty big flyweight at 5'9", 30 years old, and a 12-3 professional record. And for Abuev here, the Russian prospect, he is a very potent finisher. A lot of round one finishes, something that's rare to see at flyweight. Out of his 15 professional fights, he has only seen the judges' scorecards twice, so losing a decision and then also been finished one time by knockout to Tyson Nam in round one. I believe that was back in 2018. 2017 it was. And again, round one, these two were trading strike after strike, and eventually, a lazy jab from Abuev was countered over the top with Tyson Nam's huge clubbing right hook counter. Knocked him out in round one. So that's actually a criticism I have of Abuev, is he can get caught going one strike for one strike, looking for one explosive movement to end the fight, and kind of falling behind on the striking numbers. Now, he's been facing a level of competition where, Abuev looks pretty amazing with the striking. He does have undeniable power with a lot of knockouts here. So he does find his mark, and he has gotten better in some fights at fighting in combination. Getting combinations with the boxing and then ending with a high kick, sequences like that. He does like spinning attacks though, spinning back kicks, spinning wheel kicks, spinning back fists, and sometimes he can overswing and get out of position with that type of flashy striking. Sometimes it's effective, sometimes it does not find his mark, and I think against Carlos Mota, who's a more experienced guy and a very good grappler, I think that's going to be the downfall of his victory in this fight. I think Carlos Mota is going to capitalize on those moments where Abuev has overswung and closed the distance very, very fast. He's got a very good back take. Carlos Mota is very good in the clinch, and he's got very good striking as well. So I think Mota can hang on the feet. I think he's got a clear, huge grappling advantage in this fight. He goes for takedowns often. He's got a very good ability to get the back, and he's no slouch in the feet either. He's got a few knockouts of his own, very good devastating body kicks he's ended 2 of his fights with. And out of 8 professional fights for Mota, 4 of them have ended inside the distance, The one 5-round fight where he got finished in round 5 by Charles Johnson, who was able to out-volume him the entire fight and, basically wear him down. And Mota's cardio finally seemed to crumple in round 5 where he got finished. Abuev, I think he's got even worse cardio, honestly. Mota's got very good cardio. He just, in that fight against Johnson, it was such a high-paced fight with grappling, trying to drag Charles Johnson down, who would never stay down. Charles Johnson constantly in his face. Abuev's not that type of fighter, and Abuev, I saw in his one decision loss, that's what cost him, was his cardio. Even in a 3-round flyweight fight, Abuev seems to have questionable cardio. Again, I mentioned a lot of the finishes in his career, round 1 finishes. So I think in a 5-round fight, I don't think there's any chance Abuev even goes 5 rounds. If you can play the unders in this fight, I think Mota would get him out of here, or Abuev could get something going early. I think Abuev's got that knockout chance, but whereas Mota could win this fight on the ground, he could win it on the feet, he could grind out a 5-round decision if need be. He's got way more experience and just better striking output and aggression, does Mota. So Mota is the minus 240 favorite so far. Abuev is the plus 190 underdog. I haven't made a bet on this fight yet. I would play Mota pretty confidently. I think he's the much better fighter here. But I think this price is set pretty much where I would line it. So I don't see a lot of extra value here. Abuev is definitely an undeniably powerful, dangerous guy. He's been out for over a year now. We'll see if he's made any improvements at 30 years old. I assume we'll still see the same holes in this game. But yeah, I would probably bet the fight doesn't go if you could find that prop. I know not a lot of bookies often have the props for this one, especially time props and like the fight doesn't go and things like that. But if you could find the under 4.5, if you could find fight doesn't go, that's how I would play this fight. Otherwise, I would put a moneyline bet on Mota pretty confidently. I think he gets the job done, but minus 240, kind of a steep price tag to pay for a guy at this level. But he does look like he's got all the goods. And he's still only 27 years old for Carlos Mota. So give me Mota to win. I'm not sure if I'll put a bet on him. I might post that on Twitter if I do. So check out at Combat Addict 1 on the Twitter. So far in the LFA, I have the co-main event, the 2.5 units on Dwight Joseph. And I am thinking about playing this fight if I can find a time prop. So, all right, you guys, that's LFA 140. Just a couple of fights on there for you guys. I did say I would, make a video breaking down any betting action I had that wasn't the UFC. So that's what I got this week, and I will talk to you guys next time for the regularly scheduled UFC content you know and love. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let me know if you guys have any other fun spots this week you're attacking on the LFA. Cheers.